My name is Michelle, and I want to welcome you to this little space. I'll tell you a little bit about me. I am a mother of two. I live in a small house with my partner and our two children, and a lot of animals, and a very big garden, and I like to knit. I don't know if I like to knit so much as if I'm not gardening, I'm knitting. So I live to knit, and I just wanted to start a bit of a channel, a bit of a little, I don't know if it's a podcast or a vlog, but I just wanted to share some of my making and my growing and just some of the things we have going on around here. And I've been wanting to do it for a long time, but you know, it's never the right time. Today is definitely not the right time. It's pouring rain, it's very dark, the lighting's terrible. My whole family's home. It's probably not the right time. So if you hear a lot of loud noises, it might be thunder, might be my enormous mastiff that decided to lay right at my feet. You never know how it's gonna go. So I decided today to just bite the bullet, and it was time to just do it and get out there and connect. The maker community is just such an amazing place, and I've been watching other people and just kind of thinking like, I don't know if I have anything to offer, and then I think like, well, I've been doing this a really long time. So I started knitting probably when I was maybe a young teenager. My grandmother taught me to knit these funny little slippers, and then I kind of put it away. And then later in life, a good friend of mine over at Mini Must Knit, she's a really great knitter, and she helped me pick it back up and learn what I needed to know, you know, to get past slippers. And yeah, with her help and encouragement, I kind of became obsessed with knitting. And then I also have a big passion for animals, so then that kind of bled over into, you know, wanting to learn about sheep and fleece and meeting farmers, and then next thing you know, I'm spinning also, as you can see, which then led to I now own two beautiful Angora rabbits, which I hope to share with you in this space. So, oh, my dog just bumped my setup. So I'm not very technologically adept, and so this is just a phone on a tripod perched on a chair. I'm good at some things, and this isn't one of them, but I thought, you know what, I just have to start because I'm just going to keep putting it off forever. So yeah, so I guess the way this goes usually is people share their finished pieces. I have many finished pieces, which I might here and there show, but I guess for this time of year right now, I think as a lot of you, I'm a grower as well, and yeah, my time is in the garden. Sorry, I keep looking at myself. That's gonna happen. I can't help that. I'm just talking to the screen instead of the camera. So I'm gonna start with the socks that I finished recently. They have been worn just because that's the most recent finished objects I have. So I don't know if any of you know Carrie at My Wool Mitten, but at the beginning of the year, sort of the end of the winter, she had a sock along, a spin to sock make along. I think it was the spin to sock or spin sock along or something. And I never really joined make alongs because I'm a pretty busy person, and I don't like to put that kind of pressure on myself. I can't really follow those make along timelines as much as I really love watching other people do them. I'm just not good at it. But the one thing that got me really excited about that was she was saying how we could just, she's a shepherdess in Michigan, and so she has a lot of fleece, and she spins, and then she spins for socks. And she was saying how she's just going to use up all of her little bits of fiber and just go ahead and make socks and use your hand spun, and you know, don't treat it like such a precious commodity. And this really appealed to me because after all of these years of spinning, I certainly have a lot of little bits. So I decided to go ahead and put some fibers in the carder and just see what happens. And what happened was the nicest pair of socks I've ever put on my feet. So thank you to Carrie at My Wool Mitten for the inspiration. And I've since made another pair, so I'll share those with you today. So these are the ones I've made myself. I'll show you the texture there. And they're nebby. I've been wearing them. So in here, there's, I don't even remember anymore, there's a blend of alpaca, some silk, a big amount of Icelandic, and because I own rabbits, I always have a bit of rabbit fluff laying around, so that always helps soften everything up. And then the nubs that you see, the white I would say is the rabbit, and then all the little neps are just bits that I had hanging around that I just threw in the carder. The heel and just the little edge is just some old sock yarn by Tuku Wool that I had around, and I held it double to really make a reinforced heel. So these are pretty thick, like these are boot socks. I absolutely love them. So then my youngest child also really, really loves hand knit socks, and so I decided to make him a pair of socks. So then I put more fiber in the carder. I hope I'm not talking too fast here. I put more fibers in the carder and I came up with this. And this was dark Icelandic. I had some, I guess, I don't know if it's black, but like dark brown Icelandic. And then this would be rabbit, like Angora rabbit. And then again, just some teal blue lamb's wool I had around. This was pretty heavy on alpaca. I had maybe about 200 grams left of some just gray alpaca I had bought at a fiber festival. So I threw that in. And his socks turned out like this. And they are so comfortable. His are starting to felt. He wears his socks a lot. And the other one's like this. And we are fine with them not looking the same. Yeah. And of course, there's also the beautiful sock kits that Artifacts of Appreciation sells that make similar sort of hand spun, really muddy color, I don't want to say muddy, but like earthy tones and natural colors of sock yarn. That was also an inspiration. So when I saw that make along by Carrie, I decided to just hop in. So thank you to Carrie at My Wool Mitten for inspiring it, and I will definitely not be holding on to little scraps as long. I'm thinking also it would make good mittens, because I feel like mittens are another thing that look good when they're scrappy and nubby like that. So that would be my finished makes, I guess, for spring. I definitely don't knit as much in the summer. My hands actually get really rough from the growing. We have a large property here, not super large, but large for a city property. And we have front to back, pretty much from curb to back fence, all in edibles. We also have a dozen laying hens. So in the summer, we're working outside a lot. And then this year we rented a field from a farmer, and we're also growing a lot of vegetables out there. So we're just in the garden all the time. So my hands get really rough, and yeah, I'm not always in the mood to knit and handle fiber. But still probably a good time to start a podcast. Okay, and then I do have a lot of whips. I only have a few that I'm going to share today just because I do have a lot of whips, and some of them might be frog projects that I might share another day. But I'll start with what I have beside me, and then we'll see where we get. So my husband loves also hand spun or hand knit socks. And one of the podcasts that I really enjoy, which is Stitched by Mrs. D, Paula at Stitch for Mrs. D, she shared that I think once a year, now I don't know if I'm getting the facts right, but once a year she purchases a whole bunch of sock yarn for her husband James. And she it in a basket for him. And then she just knits him socks continually and he gets to pick out what color's next. And I just love this idea so much. My husband he's a cyclist, he walks a lot, he's an angler, he's always in he always needs new socks. Like he's always doing, really physical things, and so his socks get worn out pretty quickly. His favorite sock yarn is Tuku wool. I don't know if you know this company here. Is it gonna pick it up? This is it's coming up as black, but it's actually a beautiful deep brown. And so I decided to do the same thing as Paula. So I have this little basket, and in here are all of his favorite colors. I'll set them up. That he chose. I don't know if you can tell the colors here. This is like a mustard yellow. There's like a really nice, it's showing up a little more orange there, but it's a nice deep red, I would say. I love this green. And then so on the needles, I have his favorite color of all, which is this nice rust orange. Maybe you can see the red difference beside the orange. Again, it's thunderstorms today. It's not the greatest lighting. Anyway, so I love that idea, Paula. Thank you. And so now he's always going to have a pair of socks on the needles. So I bring these with me in the car, or at night when I'm too tired to do anything anymore. I will get a few rows in, and he will end up with a whole bunch of new Tuku wool socks. So that was a really good idea by Paula, and I'm really grateful for the inspiration. So that's a work in progress. Another thing is this year I decided to make both my boys new sweaters. I'm very fortunate in that my kids really love their knits and they wear anything I knit. They've been wearing wool since they were little, so they don't really find any wool itchy. They will wear Lopi. They will wear any kind of wool. They're pretty big fans of wool. So last year I did knit a couple of Let Lopi sweaters, and then this year I decided to kind of raise the bar and make them some hand spun sweaters. So for my eldest, actually it's not hand spun, but there is a bit of hand spun. I'll show you. So for my eldest, he's the largest member of our family. He's over 6 feet tall. So sweaters are pretty big. And one of the things he really likes is that sort of nubby, soft woolen spun, tweedy kind of wool or yarn. And I thought that Brooklyn Tweed's Shelter was gonna be the perfect thing. I know it's backward, but so he picked this color. I don't know if you can see. I'll cover my face. You can see it. It's really nice. It's Shelter by Brooklyn Tweed, and it's Targhee Columbia mix. It's very nice yarn. Now, I have heard from other podcasters that it does tend to pill, so I guess we'll just deal with that. For the project I'm making, though, I felt that the weight of it wasn't quite heavy enough, but I wanted him to have this yarn. He really likes it. So what I decided to do, I'll show you the project as well. What I decided to do was kind of to add some heft to it, was add one strand of hand spun. This is a Romney fleece. This is a wether named Jamie from Twin Oaks Fiber Farm. I bought his whole fleece in the fall, and I'm probably gonna have dark brown wool forever because Jamie had a huge fleece. It was a 7-pound fleece. It looks like this unspun. And I do have a drum carder, so it does make life easier, but Twin Oaks just has beautiful fiber. It's just such a lovely farm. Laura does such a good job. So I decided to spin up one strand of this into this, and then hold it double with the DK. I think this is DK. I think so. And it doesn't really add a lot more bulk because I'm spinning it really super fine, you can see. But what it adds is a bit more heft, a bit more drape, because I found that the woolen spun was just so light, it didn't really sit nice on him. It was kind of too light, and I wanted something a little more dense. So what I'm making with all of this, oh my goodness, it's such a mess. What I'm making all of this is the Field Day Jacket by Ozetta, or the Field Jacket? Field Day Jacket? I think so. And I can link that below. And here's where I am. I don't know if you can see, it's such a dark day. It's such a terrible day for all these dark knits, but, and so held with the dark brown, you can barely see it, but it does change the texture. It makes it a little bit more woolly, a little more crunchy, which he really likes. And so that's what I'm making for him. And I hope to have this ready by the autumn. It's a big sweater. It's kind of an interesting construction. I am a little bit stuck at one part of the pattern because it seems like the depth for the armhole is not going to be enough. So I'm going to have to fudge the numbers a bit, and I'm not sure how that's going to go. But yeah, I do like the way the button band is constructed. And then what I hope to do is, I have not done this before with an adult garment, but what I hope to do is just cut some wood to make buttons for him, and I'd like to make him those nice toggle buttons I think would go well with this wool. So that's something I'm working on all summer. And then my little son, he also wanted a sweater, and for him I'm making Elizabeth Zimmerman's saddle shoulder pullover. And I'm making it out of this, which is more of Jamie's fleece, and it's marled, as you can see, and it's plied with a sort of a brownish gray, sort of a warm gray cormo that I got from Hopeful Shetlands. I think they aren't farming anymore, but Hopeful Shetlands had this big bag of cormo, and I thought it would be perfect for this project, so I spun this up, and it's a bottom up, so there's not much to see here. Yeah, that's that. So that's a really nice knit as well. And this is definitely a woolly wool. It's not itchy. It does smell very sheepy, and it's got that nice dry crunchy feel that I really like that. So I think he's going to really enjoy that sweater. What else can I show you today? Oh yeah, one more thing, and then another thing, actually I missed this one. I did finish recently also for my youngest, is he also, not only does he wear a lot of socks, he wears slippers. He wears them right out. And he had a pair of the felted, I can't remember the name now, I'll put it down below, but those really nice felted slippers that you can get. He had a pair of those, wore right through them. So we decided to cut the bottoms off, cut the leather bottoms off. And then I decided to knit these huge sort of sock bottoms just out of some leftover Lopi. This is Let Lopi. I held it double. Sorry, my camera cut out there. I ran out of time. Anyhow, I was just saying I'm going to felt these up in my washing machine. Hopefully the opening won't get too small, because sometimes when I've made these, the hole to put your foot in gets kind of tight. So hopefully that won't happen. I'm not sure what I've been doing wrong, but so these are just basically, I just cast on a toe, knit down, afterthought heel. That's it. So I'm going to felt them down and get them to fit into this leather bottom, and then he will have himself a new pair of slippers. And I'll be able to share those with you next time. And then last but not least, and one of the main reasons that I videoed today, sorry, ready to drink. I'm having a green tea or green matcha latte here. I guess matcha's always green tea. I don't know why I said green tea. Matcha latte. One of the main reasons that I decided to make this video today was because Zsófi at berkecreationspodcast was encouraging me to go ahead and jump in and do it. So hi to Zsófi. And I wanted to show her my progress. We are both knitting a shawl. Let me show you first. So it's in this bag, which is by Mimi Must Knit. She made me this bag years ago and I love it. Get it out. So this yarn is a beautiful hand-dyed single ply, and it is merino, silk, and yak. And it was dyed by my friend Chantal at Coriander Knits. I believe it was for a barter, and she dyed 2 skeins of this, and they are pretty big. It's lace weight, so it's a pretty big skein, and I'm pretty sure the total was like 900 yards or something. And it sat around for a little while, and then Zsófi has pretty similar tastes in colors, as I do. So recently I asked her if I could send her one of these, and she said yes. And so I sent her the twin to this one. And so her and I are both making ourselves a small 1 skein shawl with our beautiful Coriander Knits luxury fiber. So that's exciting. And so I haven't gotten very far. And I'm making the oakletshawl, and I'm just at the very top. And I can link the pattern below. This is particularly difficult for me to work on when my hands are rough because it's so soft and light. It's really beautiful. I don't know if you can see all the colors in there. But Chantal had asked me what colors I liked, and I just said I really like blues and grays. And she put every single color I love, somehow magically, in this yarn. My stitch markers are by Artifacts of Appreciation. I'm sure you'll recognize those if you're a fan of hers. Yeah, so it just starts out at the top, you knit outward, and then at the bottom there'll be a bit of a lace panel. And I think it'll be a nice little tiny 1 skein shawl that I can just wear in the fall or maybe on a cold night. Yeah, so that's pretty well all I had to show you today. I really can't show you everything all today because this would be hours long. I am a pretty avid maker and I have a lot of projects on the go all of the time. So I thought if I aim for once a month, maybe I can oh, there's my dog. Maybe I can cover most things eventually. Yeah, that's the way. So that's it for today. If you stayed to the end, thank you very much. I will link everything below my social media accounts, and you could follow along and see what else we're up to. And I'm going to try, perhaps by the end of June, to post again. Thank you for staying with me today, and we'll see you soon. Bye.